All right, good evening for those of you joining us during the live stream. This is a part one of a two-part City Council candidate town hall meeting. Tonight we're hosting Lou Martinez and Mark Kairis. Next week we'll have Travis Payton and James Strome. Hopefully if you're joining us today, whether it be live or via live stream, you can make next week's meeting also. Very important to know who you're voting for and what they stand for and their platforms. Don't vote based upon someone's name recognition. Vote upon their value system and how it hits home for you. Again, we'll have an ability for them to speak, and then we'll go ahead and do a question and answer session. So, Lou, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Everybody give Lou a hand. And just to be clear, Lou, what position are you running for?
I'm running for City Council in District D.
District D.
Represent the City of Hampton.
Okay, I'm going to give you the mic, Lou, and it's all you.
Good evening, everyone. Is it too loud? I'm okay? First, I'll start off by telling you a little bit about myself. I'm born and raised in Hampton. Went to Lincoln School, Woodrow Wilson, graduated Hampton High, and I live on 5th Street. I still live there. I lived there when I was, growing up. So I know Hampton very well, and I'm right there close to downtown. So downtown to me is it's an interest that we need to preserve, and that'll be for later. But now let me finish telling you about me. Again, I went to when I graduated Hampton High, I went to Los Angeles. I went to college down at Cal State. And got drafted into the military, served in the Army. Served in the Army I was a crew chief on the helicopters. And when I got out, had my own business. Went back to college, but never finished up. But that's okay because I was able to raise 7 nephews. One of them is right here. And I have 7 who were very successful. All of them are successful. I have 3 of them who, 2 of them were teachers here, one in Clovis and one in Hanford. And this, my son here works in HR for the Hanford Elementary School District. I have one son who's going into corrections. He's going through the process. I have another son who just graduated CAP a couple months ago, so he's on duty in Linwood City. And anyway, so I spend time raising them. I raised them the old-fashioned way by setting the example for them and letting them know that they had to be responsible for their own, whether it be providing for themselves and also their education. They all of them graduated, the ones that did go to college, with no college debt because they worked and because I helped. Unfortunately, today it doesn't happen that way, and it's just something that we have to learn to do. When you're raising family, you got to make sure that you're there for the right reason and raising them the right way. Now, I also served on the City Council here from 2010 to 2014, and I served as mayor in 2013. So I was able to get some ins and outs as to how the city works, how the City Council, and the responsibility of every person who works with the City Council. And I learned from that it's very important for every council member to listen and to take input from the community when making public policy decisions. You gotta include them. It's important. It's our community, not my community, our community. And that's what I strive for today. And one of the things I would like to do also, as soon as if I make it, I'm hoping I'd make it. If I do, one of the first things I'm gonna do is ask that we change the public time from 3 minutes to 5 minutes. That's an important thing because we need to have a voice in our community. And then also important that if there's any discussion, at least give us another 2 or 3 minutes at the end of the meeting so we can question any decisions that were discussed or even voted on. That's my mission, is to make sure that we include the community in making public policy decisions. It's very critical, because as of today, even, I don't know where you stand on these circles, but I was told that the community was okay. And I go to a lot to the council meetings quite a bit. I didn't know anything about it until it was a done deal. But yet they said the community knew about it. Nonsense. They didn't include us. And they need to include us when making these decisions, because it's our money that they're spending. Amen. Let me have a voice in how that's going to be spent. All this COVID relief money, it can be used for improving our community. Not for building circles, not for building a park that Heroes Park. I'm sure you've heard of Heroes Park. It's so close to Freedom Park. I mean, it's a 40-acre park they want to build. Why not work on the property that we already have, the 18 acres at Hidden Valley? Let's get that going. Let's finish that up. Let's do what we need to do to make it a success, and we can do it. Whether it be park impact fees or any COVID money, whatever it takes, let's do it, and let's do it together as a community. Thank you. Okay. I did say I'm District D. Okay.
All right, Lou.
Yes, sir.
Well, we know your position on the roundabout, so it's going to be one of my questions.
Yes. Well, there's a place for those, but not on 6th and Downey, 7th and Downey, and 8th and Downey. Definitely not a place. Not a place for them there. I think it would be more hazardous than safe.
Given that amount of money that's currently available, if you had carte blanche to spend that money, what would be your ideal place to spend that money in the city of Hanford?
Well, first of all, I would again look to the public for input. How do you want us to spend it? But my vision would be parks and recreation and downtown improvements. I was walking downtown a couple of weeks ago. Sidewalks need work. Sidewalks need improvement. The roads need improvement. They don't need circles. They need improvement. The sidewalks need to be fixed. We have neglected our downtown. We have neglected it, and to the point where it's not fun anymore. I grew up downtown. That's where every summer when it was hot, I was out there walking around barefooted, out in the sun, because everyone was inside, and I didn't want anyone to bother me, so I was just a little kid walking out there in the hot sun because I was alone downtown. I enjoyed it. And today, I think we need to improve our civic area, the downtown area, our streets, our lights, our signal lights. They could use improvements. There's many things that we could do with this money instead of the roundabouts. And also, again, I would reach out to the community and say, what should we spend it on? It's important to include them. Very important.
One last question for me, Lou. You talked about you felt like city council on certain issues, specifically roundabouts, doesn't reach out to the public to inform the public about big decisions going on. What would you do if you were to make it to city council? What efforts would you make to inform the public about major events such as the roundabout, such as North Star, and anything that really is going to impact the community as a whole financially or with improvements and things of that nature? What's your ideal?
Well, I think one of the things that we could do, or the council could do, would be maybe have meetings in different areas of the city, maybe one District D, District E, whatever, where people, like town hall meetings, but council meetings that would include the people in the area, or people who would want, just a question, whatever it is, they would have more input in what was going to be decided by the city. I would do that. I would also, as a council member, if I make it on there, I would definitely take the time to go out and talk to the people in the community. I would take the time because it would be very important.
Very good. I'm going to open the audience up for questions. John, you got a question? Let me bring you the mic, and I'll pass around the mic so it comes out on the live stream, and then I'll get Bob next.
Yeah, I have 2 questions for you.
Okay.
The first one is North Star. All right, we see what happened with that. We see as a community we were left out without any input. And that upset a lot of people because it's like we found out about it too late and we didn't have a say.
Right.
So there's certain lots around Hampton where they can do the same thing. I know 12th and Fargo is one of them. What are you going to do to prevent that from happening without the cities, the people from Hanford's input? And then my second question is, go ahead.
You're talking about any future developments.
Any future developments that come in like that'll affect the community. We saw the passion from people in that side of town, how upset they were because we felt like we didn't get a say or we didn't have a vote on something like that coming in our side of town.
Well, right now, I think it's important that the city have some way of communicating all these developments that be coming in that would impact the community, whether it be different parts of town. It would be important for the community to be involved in the immediate area where this development is going to go in, to make sure they know what's coming in, as well as the city in general. It's important that we reach out through perhaps the water bills or any kind of form, written form, even from the city. Let the city know, especially something that's going to cost money, that it's going to impact the community, and it has the potential to impact the community in a negative way. It's important that we know what they're going to build in our town before it's decided to build it. It's very important to reach out.
I'd like to hear that. My second one, which leads into that, I see from a national level to a state level to a county level, too many people in politics are making decisions without reaching out for the people and speaking with them, electing them, the people that elected them. How come more, I know Amanda Soltre started trying to have some town halls, and I don't know if anybody else did. How are you going to maybe on it? Every 3 months, reach out to your district, have a meeting somewhere where people can have the input. How are you going to reach out to them? There's not enough of that.
Well, one of the ways we could do it, maybe at the school board meetings or any organization meetings, reach out to them, ask them to maybe if we could participate as council members, or 1 or 2 council members, so we don't violate the Brown Act. But important to reach out as a couple of members of the council and inform the community of potential developments and potential things that the city is going to do that will impact all of us. Anything to do with our money, anything to do with our community, we have to have a voice. We must have a voice. We have been left out way too long, and it's happened for too many years, and it's happening right now. It's happening right now with the current council. I don't, I'm not saying anything bad about them other than listen. And what's more important to me too is that we have people in these departments, running our departments, people who know who we are. We have qualified people in Hanford. Why can't we hire from Hanford? It's important that we have people who know us working for us, making decisions, making suggestions for us. If you live in Hanford, if you know something about Hanford, then maybe it would be those people that we need to look to bring on and help make decisions.
Very good, Lou. Bob?
Yes, Mr. Martinez, and being that our city will soon be 90,000 in about 15 years or so, and we're nearly 68,000, it appears that our police department and our public safety fire department, we are short staff, short vehicles, fire engines, cars, and so forth. A fire station, our police police department could use a modern upgrade. Even Lemoore has a nice complex over there, and we don't. What is your vision for the future to improve public safety? I know public safety is important to you, as it is to all of us here. Primary reason for city government.
You're right. It's very important. Public safety is important, whether it be fire or police. And it's important that they have the support of the community by how we deal with their facilities, how we deal their equipment. And it's important that but people will not, I wouldn't even be in favor of a bond measure or to build a new police station, to build a fire station. I would be in favor of that, but it's not going to happen if the city, the people in our community don't trust city government, and that's what we have to do first. Let them know they can trust the city government, so that we will be able to work together as one community and do what we need to do to improve public safety. It's very important. Thank you.
Good question. Go ahead, Lynn.
A couple weeks ago, I asked somebody a question about being transparent. How are you going to be more transparent? Because that's what got us in the problem of upholding and other things. The answer was, we are as transparent as we can be, because it's really up to you, community, to read the agenda. So are you telling me that, so are they saying that it's up to us to read the agenda every single time, so if it becomes a question like upholdings, that we go, or how does that work? I mean, that was the suggestion.
Now you're talking about transparency.
I'm talking about transparency. The person who said this said, well, there is an agenda that goes out at a meeting, so it's really up to you guys to know. I cannot knock on everybody's house to tell you what's going on.
Well, they're right. There is an agenda that goes out. However, it's important that anyone in this community that it impacts understand that agenda. And if we need to go, maybe to, they have a binder at City Hall that would allow us to go through the agenda of warrants or whatever they have there. And it's important for us as a community to be a part of that. But also it's important for council also to reach out to their constituents and let them know about what their intent is, so that they can be included and get feedback from whatever it is that they're going to be voting on or make a decision on. Let's not, transparency means being honest about everything. Nothing behind closed doors. Nothing at all. It's got to be up in public. And if it takes longer time, so be it. Nobody's forcing you to be on the council. If it takes time because you need to hear from any member of the public, then that's what we have to do. I know 3 minutes isn't much when they give us time, but I'll tell you one thing. When I was on the council, when I was mayor, I served as mayor, I was telling people, okay, how much time they had. I never shut anyone down. As long as they went, I wanted to hear it. They were there to express their views and concerns, and we as council have the obligation to sit there and listen. Take the time.
Just to piggyback on that, though, I think it's important that the public know that the city council is one part of running the city. The public needs to be out there to voice the issues they have concerns with, right? So we need to see participation at city council meetings, so that if you guys are saying that you're going to take input and give us time to speak and take into consideration where we want to spend our money, then that means us, the public, needs to tell you where we want to see that money go. So there's a responsibility on both sides, right? That we need to, as the citizens, have to work on just as much as you guys.
That's why it's very important for the community to participate by attending these council meetings, by speaking up, not just being there, speaking up. Voice your opinion, voice your concerns, be a part of the solution.
Lou, I've been to many city council meetings, and my concern is this. Several of the council members have a tendency to say, well, staff tells us this, staff tells us that. And they go by everything staff tells them. And what I've known over the years, I've lived here in this city of Hanford for 69 years, staff doesn't know everything, and they're not the ones that dictate policy. I think our council has had a tendency to rely on that too much. What is your position on that?
To begin with, my position on staff is we need to include more local residents for the staff. And city manager his responsibility is to hire staff, but we as a council, or the people on council, should also give them direction. Look to people from within this community to hire, whether it be for city manager, any department head. It's important. That's the only way you're going to get community input. And they haven't done this. They haven't done this in years. And today, we're in the same shape. And that's why we've been left out. Because we continue on this path. We're not changing. We need to get better and make it a point to be involved as a community into the city, with the city.
Questions?
You sure you want to give me the mic? I do. I want to stand up. It's first, Lou, hey, thank you. I know how much work is involved, and you know.
Yes, you know how much work it's involved.
And put in another 4 years.
Yeah, I know.
So my question for you is just kind of a general question. You know, you're the former mayor. You spent 4 years on the city council. Walking away, looking back, what is it that you wish you had done? What do you think that you learned, and what can you use all that body of knowledge that you accumulated in your next term?
What I learned is not to be afraid to stand my ground when it came to including the public. I mean, I would be even more vocal to make sure that we would include the general public. But the other thing too was be Hidden Valley Park. The 18 acres. When the city voted to keep it as park acreage, we should have had the vision to begin the development of it and to begin the process of building that park. If we had done that back then, we would be enjoying the 18 acres today. And that's one thing that we should have done, we didn't do.
Questions?
That's it.
All right. Give Lou a hand, first of all. Lou, I want to thank you for coming out, and I think this is part of the process, is getting give the public a venue to come talk to our candidates and our city council members. This is a good venue for that, because we want to hear what you have to say.
Absolutely.
We want to be a part of the process, and we want to be that place. Oh, no, 2 questions are closed.
Homeless.
Pardon?
Homeless. So do you have any visions of how to
one
handle
thing-
those problems?
We need to do something. Definitely, we have issues with homelessness. Our downtown, our parks, recreation areas, they have become a problem. Right now, Cove Park, the bathrooms are closed. They're closed. They're welded shut. They're not just closed, they're welded shut. Because our current leadership has decided, or maybe don't know how to address the problem, but we need to figure out. I know we're not going to solve the problem of homelessness. It's a deep-rooted issue. It will take a long time to do that, because in some cases it's a failure of families, failure of us doing things that we need to do as a family, and that's what's caused a lot of the problems with our young people, whether it be drugs, anything of that sort. But I think it's important that we figure out how to deal with the homelessness downtown and our parks immediately. And we could do that to maybe some kind of temporary shelter somewhere, and I mean temporary because you don't want to make it permanent. You make it permanent, it's going to be permanent. Temporary, where they can go wash their clothes, get cleaned up, restroom facilities, anything like that. Because I just did the other day, I saw this one guy washing his clothes at one of the fountains at the Civic Park. You know, this is really not what we want. There's a lot of people that come from out of town to visit our community, whether it be for superiority or just to look at who we are as a community. Our beautiful buildings, our courthouse, our old library, everything that we have, we like to share. Civic auditorium, we like to share all that. I like it when people come to see us. We also need to provide a safe place for them to come and see us without having to deal or walk over anyone sleeping on the grass or whatever it is that they have to avoid. We need to figure out how to deal with that on a temporary basis and do it with maybe COVID relief money, something, but a temporary, and I don't mean a structure, I'm just talking a temporary structure, maybe tent size or something like that in the outskirts of town, somewhere where we could put the facilities for the restrooms, for them to keep their stuff safely, anything that will help them not sleep downtown and our parks.
Lou, I heard Lamore's short on residents. Maybe we can bust him some homeless. Lou, again, thank you for coming out. I appreciate it. You're running for a position that you've already been through. You've been through the trials and tribulations. You know the headaches that it causes and the time you have to put in. So for you to do it again, that means something that you're in it for the community, right?
I'm in it because the people need a voice. We need a voice. I'm going to be that voice. I get it.
All right, thanks, Lou. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Mark? All right, let's give Mark a hand. I'll give you the mic, Mark. It's all yours, and then we'll come back at you.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you everybody for being here this evening. Good evening and welcome here at the Hanford Elks Lodge. And for those all watching on live stream, I hope we have a great audience out there paying attention. My name is Mark Kairis. I'm a candidate for Hanford City Council District E. Basically my district, or the district that I'm running in is, I'll give it to you in a rectangle, it's the best way to describe it, is Brainsville to Houston, 13th to 11th. So first I'd like to say thanks to Larry, the 1776 Sons of Liberty, for hosting this candidate town hall tonight. This is important. You know what, I mean, you'll hear this a couple times from me tonight. The public has to have a voice. And it's important come November 8th, or in early voting, that we get the people out there to vote and we get the proper candidates into the city council that we need to move forward. There's a little note on the bottom of my sign, our city, our future. It's our city and our future that we're fighting for. And to give you a little background about me, and I'll clarify here a little bit because I do have a note here before I'll regress a little bit. Myself and Travis Payton, Mr. Travis Payton, are not running against each other. Travis is running in District A against Amanda Soltre. I'm running in District E against Shane Strong. Okay, you're going to see some of our signs closely together or in general areas together. It's just the way the boundaries are for our districts. So I just want to clear that up because I got that question today and I thought, I better put it out there for everyone. You're going to notice this is a 2-week event. There's 2 candidates tonight, 2 next week. So Lou and I are honored to be here this evening. Next week is going to be Mr. Payton and Mr. Strong. And you're going to notice a stark difference between myself and my opponent, Mr. Strong. Okay? I've been in this community for over 20 years. I've raised my family. Okay? I have 3 kids, 4 grandkids. This is my home. This is where I've spent my life, or at least my adult portion of my life. And this community is important to me. And You know, I really never thought about public office. I'm not a politician. You're going to see that just in the way I speak tonight. I'm just an average guy. But I've put my name in the hat because I think the city needs a change. And Lou's hit on a lot of those topics tonight that you're going to hear probably come right out of my mouth as well. And that's community involvement, building relationships, and transparency. And without those things, the city's not going to succeed. Okay, we got a future ahead of us. We got a plan for that future. We got a plan for growth. We got a plan for development. We have to be ready for it. We need to start it now. Now, I know there's a general plan out there, 2035 general plan. The city has it. Okay? But we, as a council and the community, need to get involved. So that was one of the questions I heard that was asked from Mr. Martinez. This city cannot be ran by 5 people on the city council. It cannot. It needs community involvement. It needs your voice. It needs your voice. We have to listen to the people that are out there, give them an opportunity to speak, and give us the information that's important to them. And then let the council decide what's the best direction to go. So I was born in Racine, Wisconsin. I moved out here in 1984 with my parents. My dad was in the construction development business. He came out here and was one of the principal owners of the remodel of the old Hanford Mall at the corner of 11th and Lacey. That's what brought us here to town. During that time, after 1984, or during 1984, I met my wife, local gal. We've been married 37 years. Okay? My mother was a housewife and a nurse. She took care of us. We talked about family. We talked about values. We talked about our faith. Those things were all important to us. And I think it's still important today. I think the majority of voters out there today are moderate. They want to see things improve. And at the end of the day, we're not going to be the extreme party. And I don't care what party you are. This is a nonpartisan position. This is about support for the city of Hanford. And unfortunately, for the last number of years, the support for the council and the city government has not been favorable. Let's be honest. And that's what we're hoping to change. And when I say we, the 3 candidates that are going to make a difference for this community. I'm the youngest of 3 kids. I've got an older brother that lives down in Southern California, sister that lives in Pennsylvania. I'm Catholic, strong Christian values. Okay? I was raised Catholic, volunteer in the Catholic Church to this day, and believe in my faith strongly. As a young man, I was involved in scouting, drum corps, played athletics, you know, just all the normal things kids did. We don't see that today. You know, playing out in the street, drinking out of a garden hose. Who remembers drinking out of a garden hose as a kid? I mean, we didn't go inside and get stuff. My parents said, "You want something to drink? It's right there." You know, I'm not saying that was the healthiest thing in the world to do. I'm sure that, you know, some expert out there is going to tell me, that's maybe why you're a little messed up today. Could be. I attended both private and public schooling. Graduated from Rosecrans High School in Zanesville, Ohio. Attended Ohio University. Did not graduate from there, or did not get my degree. You know, the emphasis on education was a little different back in the day. It was about work, values, supporting the family, doing things that were right. My parents that taught me, you know, hard work pays off. You know, my dad passed in 1996, so it's been a lot of years since he's been gone. But, you know, I still remember the words he always told me was, "Mark, nothing can make up for somebody who's dedicated and works hard. If you go out there and you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to be successful." And at the end of the day, his message rang true. In 1987, I joined the California Highway Patrol. I spent 30 years with the department. as an officer, as a sergeant, as a lieutenant, and ultimately retiring as the area commander out of Madera. There's some professional values that the CHP uses in a lot of their advertising and in our department. And it talks about courage, it talks about honesty, professionalism, principles, respect, integrity, dedication, esprit de corps. I've lived that life for 30 years representing the state of California and the citizens. I honorably retired in December 2016. I got a couple of friends here this evening. I enjoy playing golf. I enjoy being out. I was involved in youth, mentoring youth with coaching basketball and golf. Those are the things that guided my life. So when I retired in 2016, I thought, I've had a life of service. I can't change who I am. This has been important to me. And that is one of the main reasons why I threw my name in the hat to run the Hanford City Council. So we'll talk a little bit about, my activities and the things I do. I think those are important. I'm a former head coach of the Hanford West Girls Basketball Program, Division III champions of 2013. I can't take any credit for that. It was all the young ladies that did the work. I had the honor to coach the 2013 overall section division champion for the California Scholastic Federation individual golfer who went on to attend University of Riverside on a 4-year scholarship and earned her degree. Her father and mother are here this evening, Hannah Ficini. It was a great honor to have that opportunity to spend time with her. 2013, had a great 2013, believe it or not. He was recognized by the Hanford Sentinel as the high school coach of the year. I've done my time with the community, and I'm going to continue to do my time for the community. I currently officiate high school basketball and volleyball. I'm also an avid golfer, which I think maybe some of that will get drawn back a little bit because I think I'm about to be real busy for a while. But I also volunteer for the Northern California Golf Association as a tournament official. So you see a lot of posts on Facebook and everything I do. I also volunteer for Our Lady of Fatima Catholic Church, as I stated earlier. I'm on the finance committee as well as the Eucharistic ministry. So let's get into really the crux of why I chose to be a candidate. I've been asked, why are you a candidate for Hanford City Council? And the best answer I can give you is to give back to the community. The community that helped raise my family, that I've got three grown-up adult children that are just phenomenal, successful, all chose to stay here in Hanford. This is their home. I'm committed and dedicated to the success of this community. I will do whatever it takes to be involved and to direct this community in the right way so we can have a successful place to live. That's important to me. So come Tuesday, November 8th, the citizens of Hanford are going to have an opportunity to make a choice. Have things stay the same? Or dare to walk that plank a little bit and let's make a difference. As a candidate, Hanford's future is a priority. It is the priority. I have no personal agenda. I just want to do what's best for us and our community. Unfortunately, the council in recent years has been viewed unfavorably. And we have to ask why. Right? And and I just heard it. So I have a strong supervision and management background, and I know the importance of transparency, building community relationships, and building faith in local government. So let's talk about transparency, because I know the question came up earlier today. This is our city. You all have a voice. It's important that you utilize that voice. Now, the council, I think, has done a less than adequate job of being transparent with the public. Now, some people will say, well, you know, we announced the information in the agenda. If you didn't come to the council meeting and be given your opportunity to speak, well, that's your fault. No. It's not how it works, folks. It's the job of the council to seek the input of the community. That's the bottom line. Now, how do we do that? Well, I think they've made a step in the right direction. They hired a communications director, I believe is what the title is, to start getting information out to the community. But that's just the first step. There's 5 council members on this council that have a responsibility. Not just to their district, to their constituents, but to the entire city. And we need to make ourselves available to do that. I've asked myself multiple times since this journey started about 9 weeks ago, how do you do the city's job meeting twice a month? How do you do it? Now, I know there's a lot of background work that gets done, a lot of things that happen. I know, I get it. But, I mean, really? You know, people are talking about the opportunity to come and speak and have a voice. 2 nights a month? Okay, if that's what the council meetings are going to be, and that's how they work, and that's how things will move forward, then we as a council have to do a better job of getting out to the community. And it's not just one meeting, one night, one time, one location. I'm into this for the commitment. I will do whatever I can do, whatever is needed to make sure that the community has a voice. So support. When I started this journey, I had no idea what I was getting into. Never been in politics, never been down this road before. It's been an interesting journey, as I'm sure Lou will attest to, and anyone else that's ever served on any council or committee. But it's been a pretty amazing journey. You find out where your support is, you find out who supports you, and you find out that the community wants a voice. And so, I have a strong public safety background. That's what I come from. Public safety is important to me. I was a former volunteer firefighter when I was a young man in Louisville, Kentucky, and I did it here in Kings County as well. And so I understand the fire side of public safety. I worked in the law enforcement side of public safety for 30 years. So I have that background, and I know it's important not only to me, but I know it's important to you, because I've heard it. So someone mentioned earlier this evening, homeless. I went on a ride-along with the Hanford Police Department HARP team. It's probably been about 2.5 weeks ago, maybe 3. And I'm going to tell you, it was eye-opening. Utterly eye-opening. What you see visually when you're out around town, and what you see when you go looking for it, are 2 different things. 2 different things. So people are asking, how do you fix it? It's not space science. Is there a complete fix? No. I'm not going to stand up here and tell you there is. But there are resources and there are departments and agencies that if they just collectively sit down in a room and talk about it, we can figure it out. Social services, mental health, law enforcement, community members, faith-based organizations. Everybody has to be involved. The only way a community is successful is when you get involvement and buy-in from the community. So that brings into the question, where do we want to be? What does the future look like to you? Your residents in this community. What's important to you? Well, I don't know if anybody's ever asked you that question. And I think that's a mistake, because I think the community has to have that voice. So, when we talk about homeless, we got to talk about, I kind of put them into three different categories. There's the personal choice, the individual that chooses to be homeless. Now, some people may say, really, somebody chooses to be homeless? They do. I went out on a ride along, like I said, with the HEART team, and I sat down on curbs and talked to these people, and ran across some really, really bright individuals. And I'm like, why are you out here? And they said, because I want to be. I said, why Hanford? Where are you from? Bay Area. Southern California. Why are you here? You know what? Hanford's a really nice town. That's what I was told. They like it here. Now there's issues associated with the homeless coming to Hanford. How do they get here? Whether it's by ambulance, because of medical needs, they come to the county hospital, they get treated. What happens to them? They get released, they walk right out the door, now they're in our backyard. Okay? They get arrested. The criminal element. Come to jail, get released, into our community. So, the next person, or the next group is that group that are chemically dependent. It's a problem. Gosh, turn on the news any day of the week, watch it any day. The arrests for fentanyl have just gone through the roof. It's bad stuff, people. Please protect your families from it the best way you can. Do the best, have a voice with your families. It's bad. But the substance abuse issue, a lot of it is, some people will call it the gateway drug, marijuana use. They like their marijuana. Some like methamphetamines. Opioids. Opioids are a major problem. I hate to say it, but when I was a kid and I, fell down and hurt myself, I didn't go to the doctor. My parents, took me in the bathroom, put some soap on it, rubbed it, cleaned it up, burned, stung, and go back outside and play. I didn't get, thankfully, I didn't get put on some pain prescription and it wasn't around back in that day, but that stuff is so addictive. So if you have a family member, you have a friend, you know somebody that has a problem with that, get them some help. Be your brother's keeper. Take care of each other. So, and then the last part is mental illness. What do we do about mental illness? Well, I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. But like the Commercial used to say, well, I stayed in the Motel 6 last night. I guarantee you, folks, we know the experts. And we have access to the experts. All we have to do is reach out to them, get them involved, get direction. It's got to be a collaborative effort. It can't be one entity by itself trying to solve the problem. It cannot. It's going to take the community. It's going to take social services. It's going to take mental health. It's going to take law enforcement. It's the only way it's going to work. But collectively, I think we can figure it out. And we'll do what's best for us. So, public safety is my priority. It's been my priority my entire life, like I stated. Development, employment opportunities, Hanford's future. Somebody asked the question, we're going to be 100,000 people before long. It's going to happen. It's coming. Train's on the track. It's headed this way. It's going to be next week? No. It'll be 5 years from now? No. But it is coming. And the city council and city government has a responsibility to make sure that when that time comes, we're prepared. Parks and Recreation. I know you're going to hear a lot about this from my opponent. And I'm going to say right now that there's been some wonderful strides made in our Parks and Recs department. But, this comes back to what we were talking about, getting involved, transparency. Why do we keep kicking the can down the road? To put it simply. We're sitting here in 2022 talking about Hidden Valley Park. This has been going on for decades. Decades. Now, I'm not standing up here and foolish to think that it doesn't cost money. Of course it does. But again, it's what does the public want? What do you want? The trust in city government has failed because the city government hasn't improved and done the things they should have done to get the community to buy back into their trust. The council has to move forward. They've got to be decisive. They've got to make decisions. And let's face it, I get it. And if I'm fortunate enough to serve on the council, I'm going to make a decision one night that somebody in this room is not going to like. I get it. But I guarantee you, I'm not going to make a decision and recant. I'm going to be informed, and we're going to move forward. And when you start moving forward and you start showing the community that you're going to do what they ask you to do, you're going to get their buy-in and their trust back. I'm running with, some great candidates out there. We all have our separate campaigns going, but I think you're going to hear the message is basically the same in a lot of areas. Let's make the future right for us. I'm conservative. I'm fiscally conservative. Thank you. I'm fiscally conservative. I'm not wasteful in money. When you look at a budget that's $90 million plus for the city of Hanford, you got to have people on that council that are good stewards of your money. It's not my money, it's yours. It's not their money, it's yours. And we need to be good stewards of that. Now, I know there's been discussion out there regarding funding that was, COVID funding, ARPA funding that's out there. There's, this pot of money sitting out there that's, burning a hole in someone's pocket. Well, there is some truth to that. But you have to remember, and I've worked with grants throughout my life and my career, that when you get money from the government, i.e. the state their federal government. There's limitations of how you spend it and when you need to spend it, and and time frames to do that. So I understand you're under the gun when it comes to those decisions. But what was the ARPA funds for? What was the purpose of the money being given to the county and to the city? What was the purpose? It's to help small businesses, right? It's to help the community during a difficult time. We all went through it. 2 of the worst years of my life. 2 of the worst years of my life. So there are strings attached to that money. There's time frames that it has to be spent by and what it can be spent on.
Final thoughts, Mark, before we go into question and answer?
$4.5 million for roundabouts is not well spent. Yeah, traffic circles, but for the general public.
So that is if that particular roundabouts come up for a vote while you're on council, what's your answer?
Roundabouts for
The current proposed roundabouts.
no.
Okay. All right. First of all, thank you for your service. You did a long career in law enforcement. Everybody give me a hand for that. All right, we're going to open this up for question and answer. I'm sure there's some questions out there. From me, what is your priority? You gave us a lot of issues that are out there. Told us about what needs to be changed with the council. Give me your number one priority, first day in office. What is your pet project? What would you like to see done given the power?
Well, I think first 2 things that you have to address are transparency, and the second thing you have to address is building those community relationships. That's first. You can talk about all the things you want in the projects and all the stuff that go, but if you don't have the support of the community and you don't give them an opportunity to have a voice, you're spinning your wheels. So first and foremost, I think getting that unity of that council together, bringing, and I think that's where my leadership traits will come into play, is sitting down in a room and getting some decisions, just some common ground. Where do we stand? How do we move forward? First and foremost. And it comes down to building those relationships in the community, giving the community voice and transparency, number one.
Very good. We're going to open up the questions from the audience. Again, a reminder, make sure that the questions are pointed questions. We're not here to listen to your opinion necessarily. We want to know what questions you have the candidates for time's sake. So keep your questions pointed and to the short point.
Mark.
Hi, Gary.
Hey. On the traffic circles, on the money that was given to us, what are the obligations of the city of either keeping it or giving it back if it's not for what we want to use it for?
Well, it's like any grant money, any funding source. And the bottom line is you use it or you lose it. That's the simplest way to tell you. We either use that money and improve this community by, I know infrastructure is part of that. You can use some of that money for that. Small business, giving it back to the community, that's what it was designed for. But if you don't use it, we're going to lose it. And if I understand, don't quote me 100%.
If we're forced to use it for something we don't want, what's the use?
Well, I think that's where the council came up short on this. Had they gone to the public, when they got this money, and I'm not saying they didn't have a right idea, but they didn't give the community a voice. Had they done that up front, they could have found out, and there are, like I said, there are a lot of restrictions that come with that money and how you can use it. So if you tell me that, you want to build a water slide, that's not what that money was designed for. So, yeah. Infrastructure, okay? We can use it to revitalize downtown, some of it. So that's why they tied those traffic circles into it. They had engineers. Now, I'm going to tell you, the community has to take some responsibility on that one. We really do. Because the council gave the community an opportunity to come and talk to them regarding this issue. And that's where we talk about transparency and being involved. But all this happened back in, I believe, in 2018 when this started. So, if we didn't come out and give a voice to the council, then that's shame on us. Now, could they have done it differently to get people to understand that this was coming? All these things, yeah, that's a whole nother. That ship is sailed. But to answer your question, we either use it or we lose it.
Just to piggyback on that, there is a city council meeting the 20th, I believe, that has roundabouts on the agenda. So if you are unhappy about roundabouts or for roundabouts, that is your opportunity to get involved. We've been advocates for staying on top of where that money goes, us as a group. And Mark's right, you need to attend the meetings, and whatever the case is, for or against, it's your job to voice your opinion. As far as that money goes, a good portion of that money didn't get spent on the community. It got spent through the police department. So that money is still available in a roundabout way. That could happen with the rest of that money.
Is that the traffic circle way?
that money can be used in a timely manner and still be made available to use in the future, just like the rest of it did. Okay, so. There's no time pressure for this money. It was done correctly with the rest of it to give yourself enough time for the city to make decisions. The rest of it can be done the same way. If you don't know what I'm talking about, talk to me after the meeting, okay? All right, any questions for Mark? More questions. Let's get some questions out there. Jeff?
Mark, you mentioned that public works is big for you, public safety. Do you have a plan to get more firefighters out there and more police on the street to protect us and keep us safe?
Like I said, public safety is a priority of mine. So when we talk, I've met with Chief Pendergrass with the Hanford City Fire. I've met with Chief Parker Settler with Hanford PD. Settler Parker. I don't know if I said that backwards. Sorry.
Parker 7.
Parker 7. And we need improvements. I mean, we have a police station built in 1975, I believe it was. If anybody has not taken a tour or walk around the Hanford Police Department or called them, maybe you should probably do that, because I'll tell you, they have done a remarkable job maintaining that building for what they have. Remarkable job. But it's piecemealed out all over this entire block. And it's not the most efficient use for them. But what's it going to cost to build a police station? What's it going to cost to build 2 fire stations? I mean, when you start looking at a police station, 2 fire stations, and if you want to add in there Heroes Park, we're probably eclipsing close to the entire city budget for 1 year, $100 million.
So, are you in favor of a tax increase strictly for public safety? Fire and police, in an effort to get those police stations built, and the police station, those fire stations. Personally, are you in favor of that tax increase?
I was against Measure F. Okay? Measure F didn't take care of the entire community. It took care of a portion of the community. That was my stance on the entire measure. If that was designed, half-cent sales tax, was designed to be divided equally amongst all public safety, I would have voted for it. I would have voted for it. Because, again, it's going to come down to decisions that we make. Where do we want to be down the road? There's only so much money in the kitty. So, what do you want as a community? Now, this is a very difficult time for everybody fiscally. Get it? Hard times. Totally understand it. And people are like, oh, can't we be like a small Clovis? No. No. But there are things that need to be done, and there's going to be some hard decisions that have to be made.
Questions from the audience?
No, I have a question.
Let me bring the mic to you, sir. Here you go.
Question I have is, it seems that all of our department heads, city managers, all come from the city of Visalia. And we have some very capable people in this city that could do as good a job. So if you're elected, would you attempt to hire within the city to qualified people?
Absolutely. I think first and foremost, what's best for the community is the community. So, thank you. You know, we talked about, or I've learned over the last number of weeks about retention of public employees, our city government, things like that. It's important. You know, we're a training ground, unfortunately, for some positions. The police department and fire department are a prime example of what's happening. We train them, they get a better job somewhere else, and they leave. So we're right back to square one. Now, one thing that the Hanford Police Department has done is they've started hiring local young men and women to fill those roles as police officers. Great opportunity for our people. That's important. You know, getting the community back into the community, knowing what's best for the community is the direction we need to go.
You talked about, and we also asked questions about transparency. What proactive approach are you going to take to informing the public about upcoming, events in Hanford that, have a high impact on budgetary issues or something that's, pet projects that have a high impact in Hanford and they're going to have a lot of public scrutiny? What are you going to do to get ahead of that issue?
This is 2022. This isn't 1982. We've come a long way in 40 years. Social media, networking, live streams. There's a lot of opportunities out there. I give the city of Hanford credit. They hired a communications director. That's a step in the right direction. It's getting somebody involved to help get that word out.
Yeah, but they just did that.
They did. But they did it.
But they did it, right?
So that's number one. Like I said, the social media and stuff is so important today. I mean, one thing I learned during this whole campaigning thing is that the youth in our community, the average age, I believe, in Hanford is like 37 years old. They're technical people. They grew up with computers. They grew up with social media. They know how to use it. So if we get that information out and do a better job of it, town halls, just like this, giving the public an opportunity to come and ask questions and get answers. Giving the information out. It's important. I think there's a lot of avenues that are untapped that we can get the word out to the community. And in perfect response, if I'm fortunate enough to be elected to council, that's part of my responsibility as well. I have a district that I'm responsible for as well as the entire community, and I guarantee you that I will put the effort in to make sure that that information gets out and that we avail ourselves to them so they can receive that information.
So how would you do that? Mark, how would you go to your community or
Same way I'm doing.
So would you have your own town hall meeting?
Absolutely. Same way I've been doing it for the last 8 weeks. I've been out knocking on doors. Okay? I've been out meeting people. I've been out asking questions, getting information from the public. That's what I've been doing for the last 8 weeks, preparing for this election. And I've got 7 more weeks of doing it. And I'm going to tell you, when you give people a voice, they take advantage of it. They take advantage of it.
We're going to take a question from the live feed. Dave Byrne is asking, when will Hanford start investing in their youth again? High school football field, youth baseball fields.
Okay, could you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yes, when will Hanford start investing in their youth? High school football field, youth baseball fields, which that comes up often. I get questions. Actually, when we did a public outreach about the roundabouts, the youth complex was a hot button topic of where to spend that money. So I think it's a valid question.
I met with Mr. Brett Elder, Parks and Recreation Director, and we had a great conversation. We talked about the soccer complex. We talked about the successes of the softball complex. Hanford Youth Athletics is supported in this community. It always has been. There's a lot of people out there that invest a lot of time and effort into our youth and into our community. I did it as 14 years. So I will not say that there's not an investment out there. There are people that invest in. All you have to do is, when I was driving over here tonight, I drove by the baseball fields on Greenfield. It's packed. I know it's football season, but there's young men, young girls out there participating in athletics. Go to the soccer camp on the weekends when AYSO is going, and all the different sporting events are taking place. There's involvement in this community. Now we have to have resources and places for them to enjoy that, which I think we do. And I think part of the other thing is we need to maintain that property to make sure that they have a safe and enjoyable place to compete.
We just got a piece of information that Neighborhood Bowl is going to be refurbished shortly. So that's good to know. However, that's one of those issues where public communications is paramount. Okay, so but good. I'm glad that they're doing that. Last question.
The whole thing on Neighborhood Bowl, the whole drawback in previous years has been making it ADA compliant, handicap accessibility, right? It's the cost to get that done. But the Neighborhood Bowl has been, what an amazing place. Go there on a Friday night for a high school football game. It's amazing.
Not so nice on a Saturday morning, I can tell you that.
Are you on the track getting an exercise? Good evening.
All right, I have two questions for you.
Good evening, Mr. Harris.
And hopefully it's something that really hasn't been hit on, but it's kind of a repeated theme. There was concern about new fire stations, new public facilities, and one of the funding mechanisms has always been impact fees. That's when a new home is built, a new business comes in. Whoever it is, the entity is given an impact fee. So basically that cost goes into somebody who's coming into the community versus somebody who lives there. So I was wondering how you felt about that. And another thing that hasn't been hit on at all this evening, water. And, whether they like it or not, we've always felt that we had an endless supply of water here in Hanford. We don't. And is there anything in that category that you give me some thought to?
So first off, impact fees. I think there needs to be an evaluation of the current fees where they're at. And one thing I'm going to say, and I'm proud to say that because I'm a resident of this community and my tax dollars go for it. When you talk about cleanliness in the city, I love Tuesday morning, 6 a.m., hearing the street sweeper come by my street, cleaning things up, keeping our community safe and clean. It's important. I like that. I wave at him every Tuesday morning as he drives by. On the flip side of that, I had a conversation with a good friend of mine who had a daughter who wanted to add a bedroom onto her home. Went to go down, pulled the contracts, paid the fees. $9,000 is what I was told in fees to add a bedroom to, just a bedroom to a home. My understanding is 15 years ago, $450. So I think there needs to be an evaluation. I think that's important for all of us to sit down, and it comes back to what we were talking about, being good stewards of the people's money. And I understand things cost more today, and anybody sitting in the room knows that. So I think we need to, as a council, we need to look at that, see if we can streamline it, trim it back. You know, and then again, I think the community has to have a say. It needs to have a voice. What's important to them? Water is a state issue. I mean, it's a national issue, but especially here in California. I'm an early riser, get up. My sprinklers come on Sundays, Wednesday, yes. Sunday, Wednesday. So, a year ago, I could stand out on Wednesday morning when my sprinklers kicked on for their 5-minute cycle, and I could watch water spraying, and my lawn looked nice, and it was only watering twice a week, but it worked out good. Now I turn it on, and it looks like it's hardly coming out of the, you know, there's no pressure. Okay, now what caused that? My understanding is they had some maintenance issues. Pumps went down in the city. Not all the pumps are functioning. You know, again, there's some of that money maybe to fix and repair if it's available to make that happen. There's no fix. The man up there is going to fix it. He's either going to grant us more water, or he's going to get us some people elected in the right positions to build some water storage for this state, which is greatly needed. And you know, maybe if we can get maybe stop selling some of our water rights away, maintaining some of that, we'll get it back.
Well, I look forward to the day I can retire and watch my sprinklers go off and the trash truck driver drive by.
Pretty good life.
I can't wait for that. 4 more years.
Pretty good life.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming out and talking to us. Just to be clear, we're not endorsing any candidate. We allow them to bring their signage. We, as 1776 Sons of Liberty, have taken the stance where we're not going to endorse any political candidate, and to remain neutral and give these candidates a voice, and in a comfortable setting where they don't feel pressured that we're trying to run an agenda one way or another. We try to be fair, firm, and consistent, and allow the public to ask questions that are important to them. Now, I will say that as candidates, as current city council members, we always have an open platform. We talk about transparency. We'll give you that platform. If you guys have issues that you need to talk about, call me. I'll give you time slot. There's avenues for to bring up issues, and I will say that this sitting city council, I've had good experiences where I go and speak in front of the council, and they listen, they respond, and they'll table things and bring things back up for further discussion. So I like that our voice is being heard to an extent. Our voice is important and we want to be part of the political process here. So in that, if we're going to be part of the process, we want to give you guys a platform too, if elected, to come and speak when there are those hot button issues or you want public input. The people involved in politics in Hanford are sitting right here, okay? As far as wanting to get involved in city council, board of supervisors, we're here. If you have anything that needs to be brought up, and like I said, that goes for all candidates, there's an avenue for that. There's a venue for that, free of charge. Call me, I'm here.
Well, and I can't thank the Sons of Liberty group, as well as all the people in attendance tonight and on the live stream for attending. It's important. This election in November is important. Where do we want to go? So thank you, Larry. Thank you to your group. Thank you to the community for coming tonight. Feel free to access me through Facebook and like Mark Kairis, Hanford City Council, and gladly get back to any questions that you have. Thank you for the opportunity.
This is part one of a several-part series of a platform for city council candidates. Next week we have Travis Payton and Shane Strom coming out to do part two. Again, they're not running against each other. They'll tell you all about their platforms and their districts and explain to you. We've offered that to the candidates running for board of supervisors. We've had most of them on. We gave them platforms. Some of them elected not to participate. and also city council. We gave every candidate or city council member an opportunity to participate. Some opted not to. Yes, congressional district candidates, we've given them opportunity. So again, we try to reach no matter your political affiliation. We want to hear from you, because whether we have the same values or not, we want to know what your thoughts are. We want to know what we're going to get for a candidate. I'd love to have Ernie Salas if that's a possibility of who's going to get elected. I want to know where he stands on issues. I don't want to just hear from one side or the other. I want to hear from all sides. Just because we, as individuals, support maybe the more conservative side, that doesn't mean that's who we're going to end up with. So I want to work with whoever's elected. It doesn't matter. It's not one side or the other. It's for the benefit of our city and our county, right? So again, always reaching out.
Hey, I'm a firm believer when it comes to city council Hanford, we really should know your political affiliation if you're on the city council board. All right, that's for assemblymen and higher. Right, we should not know your political affiliation.
Agreed. No doubt. It's a nonpartisan position.
That's right.
It needs to represent the entire community. I don't care what party you're from. You need to be able to sit down at the table, have discussions, and make the right direction for the community.
All right, we're going to go ahead and call it. I think they turned the air off on us. We're talking too loud. But we do have a bucket there that we'll take donations. If you have donations, it costs us money to run these events. A couple bucks if you got them. If not, we'll catch you next time. And I hope to see